There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Olof from Enforcer. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome back Olof Wikstrand of Enforcer, and Enforcer has released their 6th studio album entitled Nostalgia via Nuclear Blast Records, and you want to check out singles Coming Alive and new single Metal Supremacia, and you definitely want to check that out. So, Olof, welcome back to the podcast, man. How you doing?
Thanks, man. I'm doing great. Yeah, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. Glad to have you back on here, like I said.
Thanks,
How's it
man.
been working with Nuclear Blast so far?
It's been pretty good. I don't have much to compare with, but no, I think it's been pretty good. We have a good understanding, I think.
What's the nucleus that keeps this band together and moving right along, and you're still happy with Enforcer's music that you're putting out?
I don't know. I think it's the friendship of my brother and I, and that we like to do stuff together, that crystallizes into this band somehow. And I think that we've found a way of working with this that works with the rest of our lives and everything that surrounds it somehow. Because lots of bands disband after a while because people change their priorities and stuff, but somehow I think we made this work for everybody. That's it. And also like it's like the passion for music. It's a never-ending thing. I could never stop writing music. I could never stop do music, no matter how what happened.
How excited are you guys to finally have this new album out and be done with it and move on? Because I know it's going to be old to you guys, but new to us.
Yeah, no, it feels good. Some songs are new, some songs are older, but it's awesome to show the world what we've been working on for the past years.
Mm-hmm. So these songs that are older, let's talk about that a little bit. How long would you say the oldest song is on this album?
I think the first song we composed was composed in like early 2020, or late 2019. Something there, the latest song was composed just half a year ago. When everything was done, we just recorded some extra tracks that eventually ended up on the album.
Were these songs that were left in the vault that you said, yeah, these need to go out, we need to get these done?
It was like Coming Alive, for example, was the last song we did, and that was more or less because we felt that we needed an extra album single, because we put out At the End of the Rainbow and The Kiss of Death already, and we needed to do something somehow that could top that, I think, to be even more extreme, even more, like a raging banger. So then we composed that for that reason.
Was it a priority to go back to the band's roots on this new album, or no?
I mean, we did this together with the fans, I think, and we involved the fans in the writing sessions with different like YouTube videos, communicating with people on social media, and just making sure to check out what the fans expected instead of like just wandering off in our own world,
Yeah.
So we did a few videos where we made it possible for people to comment and feedback on demos that we were working on. And we always had the fan perspective in our minds when we were doing this, and we wanted to do something that was like representable for us as a band, and almost like it could summarize our entire career. like a best of album of our entire career.
After getting that feedback though from the fans, what was your reaction to hearing what they actually wanted to hear from you guys?
It was pretty much the same as we wanted, I think. But it was really good to like also hear and to help fans and people who follows us to get a relation with the songs early on, to feel that they're participating in something and like build a relation to the music.
So after they gave you that feedback and you guys started working on this, did you feel like, okay, look, this has to come out swinging for us because this is what they're wanting?
Yeah, a little bit, but eventually, like I said, it was like what the fans communicated that they wanted was pretty much the same as we wanted anyway. But it's just fun to do something along with the fans.
Sure. Yeah. And that's cool to have an album that the fans had an impact on and be like, look, the fan, especially working with you, be like, look, I helped make that album. I had an input on that. I want to ask you this question because you guys have been around for a while now. And for all these youngins, as I call them, these youngins out there who are wanting to be a musician, want to travel, want to have that feel like you guys do. And I said this in many interviews. I like asking this question because you guys have paved the way for these other ones to do so, just like older ones have done for you guys. How impactful was touring when you first started? Even today, how impactful is touring for you guys? Because this is where you're going to cut your teeth and stay if this is what you want to do.
It's hard to tell. Some people seem to like to make success on the internet before they go out touring. So I don't know. It's just like it's all the small things that adds up in the end, I guess. But I mean, for example, take the American market, the US market. It's really hard for young European bands to reach that market because it's so different, foreign to the European market when you talk about music. And also it's really hard to make it there because visas are insane to go to play in the US. But we were lucky enough to get that, very, very early. On our first album, we made a US tour. It wasn't the biggest success ever, but we managed to establish ourselves as a band in the United States, which eventually led to that we could come back a few years later and make a couple of very successful tours. And that, for example, would never be possible if we didn't start to explore the market very early on. If you compare us to other Swedish bands of our size, nobody has ever gone to the States. So, for example, that is something where the touring gave us opportunities.
What led the track Coming Alive to be that first song released off this album? What was it about that song compared to the other ones that said, okay, this needs to go out first for us?
Because it was, it was just like crushing all competition, like being the fastest metal band, being the most extreme metal bands, do the wildest solos, make the wildest tempo changes, stuff that nobody else do really. So I think that's, that was the reason. Crush the competition.
I want to say this too, and I'm not saying this just because you're on here, but I like that thrash metal style you guys bring back. I like that.
Yeah, man. Like thrash metal is one of 1,000 genres that inspire me, but I really like, for example, early thrash, like first 2 Megadeth albums and first couple of Metallica albums and stuff like that. And that's stuff that inspires me and think that I think there's a room for that within our style, even though I wouldn't say that our style is thrash metal.
Olof, does a full-length album suit this band better than an EP at this time, or would you consider doing an EP?
We actually started to make this Nostalgia as an EP, but our record label changed their mind, and we continued with this to record a couple of more songs to make it a full album. We wanted to try the EP format, but I don't think it would have nearly at all the same impact as a full-length album have in the metal community right now. We pushed out a few singles that made a small buzz, but it's nothing compared to releasing a full-length album.
Was there a track for this new album that totally ended up sounding different than what it was intended to? Was there one that kept changing or no?
No, I don't think so. I think we had every song had a very basic idea, and when you look at these songs from the new album, they're very boiled down. They're short, intensive, and the motifs are very clear, you know? So I think that's, there's not so much things you can do about it because we wanted to make like well-crafted songs where you would recognize the songs instantly.
I know these are your babies. I understand that. You guys worked on these for a long time, but any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this album, possibly, Olof?
Like I listened to these tracks for the first time when it was released in more than 7 months. I hadn't listened to it since I finished the mix. And with a distance to it, I think that maybe it's hard to say. I like all the songs. I think they're, but the songs that stands out most to me is probably Unshackle Me, Coming Alive, and Nostalgia. And Heartbeats is a song that I really like too.
Any songs that didn't make this album we're going to see on another album, or just a standoff single from you guys down the road, possibly, or no?
I mean, there's some songs on this album that I wanted to not have on the album, but we were persuaded to keep them on the album from the record label. So we really gave the album everything for now.
Is the track listing placement important for your album releases that you guys put out?
I always thought so, and that's why I made Zenith, because our previous album, because that's a very deliberately thought through track list where all the songs have a certain role in a bigger entirety. But this time I thought the opposite. I was just like, yeah, let's put the best songs first,
So was Zenith just like a test album? And I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean was Zenith just an album that, let's just throw us there and see what happens?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was mostly a very ambitious album because we really pushed our limits with that album, I think. Because we played with so many different. I think it was like, from a musician's point of view, it was something that was like completely limitless, and we wanted to make an album where every song would be way different from the other songs, and where we could display like a bigger palette of inspiration. So it's a very ambitious album, very much a lot of long, complex songs, lots of like tempo changes, lots of complex song structures and arrangements, very like epic lyrics and epics, stuff like that. So it was an ambitious album, that's for sure.
So you and your brother Jonas, you guys recorded this at your house. Let's talk about this a little bit. Do you guys like having that freedom to record and, when you want to, and not be pushed, and not be on a time frame?
Yeah, I mean, it's both of us work with music production. So it's like, so it's very natural to do all these things ourselves.
This artwork for Nostalgia was done by Adam Burke, and I think he knocked this out of the ballpark. It's very awesome. Did he get exactly what you guys were looking for?
Yeah, more or less. I think he got my idea. I explained my vision. I explained the way I look at the album title and what I wanted to have representative in such a thing, and he made his interpretation of that, and that was more or less, this was like the second sketch. He gave me one sketch first, and I was like, yeah, let's give it a little bit more interesting perspective, and he put out this as a second sketch, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
I got to know this, man. What's been the most heated discussion that the band has had, either working on a song or album cover or album name? There's got to be one. It's like no, we're going to use this.
It hasn't really been much of a discussion. I think for the album cover, I was pushing that all myself. I didn't even show the other guys until I had like this is the final version. With the album name, I think Jonas and I agreed pretty well on that. We wanted to have like Nostalgia, which was our favorite track from this album, lifted to a title track status. And also it's a theme that really works with all the visuals also. So the other option of naming this album was to name it Coming Alive from that song. But we didn't really find any good like visual ideas for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we settled with Nostalgia.
What's the growth, Olof, musically you've seen from yourselves working on this album that impresses you the most, if anything, or just overall Enforcer's music, man? Is there anything that you've seen that really has impressed you over the growth of your music career?
I think that we become so much better songwriters than what we've ever been before. I think that, we know the craftsmanship, what you say, like the crafting of music.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I would guess on our first, I would do 1,000 songs and it would be like a couple of them who would make it to the album because I made everything on chance. Now I'm at a point where I know what makes a good song, and I know how to make a good song, and I know what's appealing to a listener in terms of how you compose riffs, how you work with arrangements, how you work with harmonies, how you work with chords, chord progressions, how you work with contrasts between different parts of the songs, how you work with lyrics, how you work with the vocals, how you work with the instrumentation, and all that. I really, that's like something that I developed more and more throughout the years.
If Enforcer could write an album equivalent to your favorite band album, which album would that be?
I mean, that's my goal. I think that my goals making this album was to make an album that could be measured with Master of Puppets, Heaven and Hell, Holy Diver, like Sad Wings of Destiny, or any of those like big rock and metal albums from the time where heavy metal was relevant.
You had me at Master of Puppets. That album is like, there's every song on that, even the instrumental, man, is a banger.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. That album saved my life. I would not be here today without Master of Puppets because, let's just say that if I hadn't had that album in my life at a time that I needed it, I would not be on this planet right now. So
no, I'm very strong feelings towards that too, because that's one of the albums that I grew up with, and I think I got it my like birthday present when I turned 8, and so there's a lot of memories and nostalgia towards that album, as well as other albums that I got from that period of my life.
What's been your most memorable show that Enforcer has been a part of that you still can't believe to this day that it happened for you guys, if you've had that moment yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's not necessarily the big shows that you remember. It's the shows where people are most enthusiastic about you, and it doesn't matter how many, but it's like when if it's a crowd of 250 people and everybody shows like their dedication, then it's something that is memorable. And the first thing that comes to mind is like Mexico City, Athens, great shows, playing in, Poland, playing Los Angeles actually is pretty great also, always. New York City is also like usually really solid.
All right, Olof, if you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would it be and what show would it be possibly?
Maybe Metallica Moscow 91.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was the time when you had all the freaking soldiers up front. That might have been the Monsters of Rock tour that they were on.
I think that was, yeah, like the first show in Soviet Union for a foreign band. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I don't know the details, but it looks absolutely incredible. Yeah.
All right, folks, you want to get out and pick up Enforcer's new 6th studio album entitled Nostalgia via Nuclear Blast Records. It's out right now. So, Olof, my friend, how can folks stay in touch with Enforcer, buy this new album, tour dates, everything under the sun on Enforcer? How can they do that?
Yeah, they can find us on any social media or Google or our website. You'll find it.
I'll have everything in this description when this interview posts, so that way nobody can say, I don't know where it's at. It's right here. It's in the description. They're right there. Exactly, man. Click on it. It opens up. Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah. This is Olof from Enforcer. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. And you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please go check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link, and you definitely want to subscribe to the YouTube link if you like what I'm doing. I hope you guys and gals do. Check out Enforcer, their new album entitled Nostalgia. It's out right now via Nuclear Blast Records, and please give this band a fair shot because they got some really good stuff out there. So, Olof, thank you for doing the interview, and man, I wish you guys always nothing but the best of luck.
Thanks, dude.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.